The Hateful Eight is Quentin Tarantino's 8th feature film out of the 10 overall movies that he says he's going to make in his career. And looking at it, there's a reason why he's been taking everything a lot more seriously, because early on, he had his script leaked. People bashed him for the content of his script. New York police officers were boycotting his movie. He had to pay an extra 80 grand per theater just to release it the way he wanted to. Disney then started taking away theaters from him where he wanted to premiere the movie for Star Wars. Then I get home from my screening and realize from reports that the movie even got leaked online. So Quentin is going to have more hate in him than any of the characters that he wrote in his script. Nonetheless, though, I was blessed to be able to see the movie, and I want to talk about the good, the bad, and everything in between about The Hateful Eight, which I think the best way to sell it is by calling it a Western version of Clue. And I am a huge fan of Westerns, big fan of Tarantino. When you sprinkle that aspect of mystery in it, I'm all on board for it. But I still don't think it was Quentin Tarantino's best film, and I'll explain. It's a film that's very reliant on Quentin Tarantino's dialogue, and where you're looking at these two bounty hunters who have their bounty, and they're going on a carriage for a good hour of the movie. They arrive in this cabin, and there's a total of 8 people, including themselves, who have to wait out the blizzard that's happening outside, but not everybody in there may be who they say they are. There's an amazing tone that the movie carries thanks to the legendary composer Ennio Morricone, who comes in, who's done majestic work before for Westerns, and he comes in and gives this sort of Jaws Western theme, and where you just feel like something's creeping up on you and you don't trust the person next to you, and then having some tracks that really makes it feel like a Scooby-Doo episode because you feel like hijinks are about to ensue. As we all know, Tarantino is an actor-director, and where he really focuses on his actors, and you have Samuel L. Jackson, who I think gets the heaviest of dialogue. You then have Kurt Russell, who is very consistent, but for me, the best character out of the 8 was Walter Goggins. You may know him from Django Unchained. He was really good in that movie, but here, I think he is the standout. Some may say it's Jennifer Jason Leigh who comes in and does her thing, but I think that Walter Goggins was the one who had me laughing the most, and was the one that I was actually rooting for the most as well. In terms of the content of the movie, looking really at Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, you see that she is a woman who, while she's bad, people are slapping her and they are calling her derogative terms, and people may look at that and be like, Quentin, you're taking it too far. And even me, being a huge fan of Django Unchained, can say, yeah, Quentin does not stray away from controversy, because here, it's sort of like he makes his actors enunciate the R, pronounce it way harder than they should. And you can argue that Quentin does not need to really focus on those things, and really he doesn't. He can stray away from it, but he does it anyway, and it becomes something that's a very, heavy matter in the movie. I'm not saying that I'm fully PC or anything. Again, I enjoy Django Unchained, and even one of my favorite lines in this movie is a Mexican kind of slur that happens, and I was laughing throughout. But again, you can say that he can avoid those things, but he chooses to have those parts in his script because he likes the controversy that it causes. In terms of the way that the story develops, it's Reservoir Dogs, but in a cabin, and it's very heavy on his dialogue, as I've been saying. So to some, you're gonna buy your ticket right away. For others, you're like, no thank you, I don't really like his dialogue. And me, being the person who should be on this side, was like, you know what? This is not his best dialogue. It is not his best work, because this is a man who in his intros is able to have tension, like in Glorious. It's perfection. Here, this intro lasts like an hour, almost an hour and a half long of this buildup in a carriage until you get to the cabin. And it just doesn't have it's not bad, it just doesn't have the same tension as he has before. In terms of dialogue, this is the man who has the tipping scene in Reservoir Dogs. He doesn't really have those moments that are as great in this movie, I feel. I would say like the most controversial or the biggest one that he has in this movie is when a character is talking about a Black Johnson. And if that's the best part of the movie in terms of dialogue, I definitely don't think it's up there with his other work. You then have the whole bit with the 70mm, which I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like the dude was tricking all of us. He says he wants it to be the next Ben-Hur, the next Lawrence of Arabia, which we all know are these sweeping landscape type movies that had an overture, that had their intermission. That's what he wanted for his movie. Then it turns out that the first 10 minutes are worthy of that 70mm. Then the rest of it is in a carriage and in a cabin. And I feel like the dude was just trolling everybody. Now, of course, the 70mm is worth it because you get to see everybody in the room. And I'm pretty sure the more that you watch the movie, you'll be able to pick up on some of the nuances that the characters have. But there are still moments where they'll do a close-up when somebody is doing something that you should be watching out for. So the 70mm doesn't even come into play there. But again, this whole thing about having to see it in theaters, it would be okay just in digital, and at the same time, it doesn't have those sweeping shots that he claimed were going to be like Lawrence of Arabia and Ben-Hur. So I really feel the dude was trolling us. As I said though, it is Tarantino being a wordsmith. I don't think it is his best stuff, so I also don't think it is the best script of the year. But nonetheless, it's Tarantino coming in and giving us a Western version of Clue. It is delightful, it's funny, it's able to engage you throughout. But he just needs to learn how to edit it a bit shorter, because I love the fact that it's 3 hours and 7 minutes. I was really looking forward to that until I realized, wow, 45 minutes can easily be cut in this movie. And again, watch the movie for yourself and see what I'm talking about. Maybe you agree, maybe you won't, and we can discuss it down below in the comments section. But by the end credits, I do have to give my rating, and I would say that I wanted to give it a combo price, but I have to give it a junior price. Not a bad Quentin movie, but not one of his greats, and you have to rate it to show which ones are greater and then which ones are just good. However, definitely let me know your thoughts again about this movie down below in the comment section. We can discuss it, and don't forget, if you comment, like, and subscribe down below, this video will magically turn into a 70mm review. Keep watching movies, and until next time, I'll be seeing you guys later.